my fellow human beings, and welcome to episode 97 of The Best Blessed Life. I can't believe it. I'm your best host, Kristen, and today's topic is, hey, ya ham, let's smile and get cheesy. Before we get started, I want to thank you all for watching. Please continue to watch, comment, share, like, subscribe, ring that bell, and please pass them on to anyone you think that they would help. With that being said, we got our list of things to do today. So we got our daily inspirations, of course, which I'm reading from my phone. The topic of conversation is where you headed. I wanted to put where you headed, but I don't know. I just didn't. I forgot. And then we're talking about leftover ham. So if you celebrate Easter or you just love ham, you might have some left over. So we are going to make a slow cooker ham and potato casserole. Okay. I think that's about it for now. Let's go over the challenges. I haven't talked about those in a smidge. So we're going to talk about pay yourself first, which means you have to give to yourself in order to give to others. And pouring from an empty cup is another saying. Then we talk about the sentimental journal, which I have been I am not, I don't know if I'm not ready to write stuff down or I don't know. I'm going to have to figure it out because I know it works. It's just very exhausting to me. I'll explain that along the way. And then mind over body over mind, or strengthen the mind and body. I had it phrased at one point. I don't know. I just want you to know they work in tandem. And it's important to keep that in mind when you're trying to keep your brain fit. It helps to keep your body working. Okay? And it's scientifical. I can't give you the exact whatevers, but okay. So I'm gonna go over our recipe real quick, and then we'll do our daily inspirations. So we have one 30-ounce package of frozen hash browns, and she said cubed or shredded was fine. I didn't realize till I got home that my package was only 28 ounces, but who cares? I got a lot of other stuff going on in there. 1 tablespoon of dried minced onions, and I don't have minced onions, so, and I thought using a whole tablespoon of just onion powder was going to be a lot, so I reduced it down to 2 teaspoons of onion powder, and then 1 teaspoon of salt, 8 ounces of sour cream, 1 can of cream of chicken soup, and she suggests a healthy one. Well, I sadly don't have a healthy one. So this isn't going to be as healthy as she makes it, unfortunately. I do add a lot of veggies, so I got that. This is not, she said you can add it to the mix here, but she does not have them listed here. Then 2 cups of shredded cheese, 2 cups of diced ham, 4 tablespoons melted butter, and 1 package of stuffing mix. Okay. And she didn't say what kind of stuffing. And I love to get the cornbread one, so that is what I am using today. I don't know. Sounds good. I just realized I left my melted butter in here. Just want to make sure it was still melted. Okay, and then also she said if you did decide to use the kind of onion and peppers mix, the frozen, she suggested sauteing it. So I did have some left over from the last time we used veggies, which was the healthy mac and cheese, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So I just sauteed it in a non-stick skillet with a little bit of butter, just so to have some sort of friction. Sorry about that. And then you spray the crock pot liner. You combine pretty much everything except for the stuffing. And then you sprinkle the stuffing over top, and then you drizzle the melted butter over the stuffing. Excuse me. and you cover and cook on low for 4 to 5 hours, or high for 2 to 3, or if you have one where it's a combination of different ones. So my high could be 6 hours. My low, sorry. No, that's the high. 4 and 6 hours is my high. Or on low, I think she's just saying keep it on low and cook it for those time frames, because mine is preset for some reason. Okay, so basically we're going to put everything in a bowl. We're going to mix it up, throw it in the crock pot, and be done. Sound fun? Maybe along the way here in one of our pauses I'll be able to like come up with a dessert. I haven't done that in a while. But we're going to do our daily inspirations. So, and I'm going to do them backwards because I'm reading them from my phone. So today, I love you, and because I love you, I would sooner have you hate me for telling you the truth than adore me for telling you lies. Pietro Artino. From the 12th. I get the utmost pleasure in life out of showing my children how much I adore the life out of them. And I forgot to write down who that's from. Okay, the 11th. Ultimately, I've learned to pride myself on being quirky. I very much adore people who are outcasts, and I've always loved to be around interesting circus-type people. Karen Elson. The 10th. I adore this adventure. I adore working with youth. For me, it's a daily challenge, working to help those youths realize their dreams. Patrick Waugh. The 9th. I adore people who ask questions and who cause others to share in their search. And again, I guess I forgot to write that one down too. For the 8th, it doesn't matter how many people adore you, or how skinny, successful, smart, talented, funny, kind, or compassionate you are. None of it matters if you don't see your wonderful self. Amanda de Caden. It's what I can't read the font is the problem. Cadenet. Okay, the 7th. I love and adore being a mother. It's the greatest gift I've ever been given. Uma Thurman. So true. So true. And the 6th. Words of comfort skillfully administered are the oldest therapy known to man. Louis Nizer. Okay, that's a week's worth, I think. All right, so basically I got a bowl here, and we're just going to just dump everything in here. I'm also adding broccoli and mushrooms to my veggie part. Now, she doesn't talk about how that's mixed in, so I'm just going to mix it in with the rest of this stuff. And hope this bowl is big enough to handle. Oh, and of course diced ham. I didn't even bring, did I mention the diced ham? I really didn't get the cheese out either, so I'll have to do that. So I got that. I got a package of frozen broccoli. It's weird because there's really no liquid except for the soup, and that's not even liquid. I wonder if that becomes, and the butter. I don't know if my bowl's big enough. Okay, so I got the hash browns in there, and they want you to put all the seasoning in there too. This is going to be interesting, guys. I'm not sure my bowl can handle how much stuff I'm going to be putting in here. That was like more like 3 cups of ham besides. Let me get before I forget, my sauteed vegetables in here. Don't panic, I'm using my spoon for my sour cream. So I also feel like since I'm using onions in this part of it, that maybe I shouldn't use as much. Don't really want to use a lot of salt either because ham is pretty salty. I'm pretty salty. Okay. And it's set to dice it, but I had spiral ham, so it's more in like flat something squares. Okay. I'm debating about adding the mushrooms, I think. I don't know. The healthier the better, right? The more veggies you add, the healthier it'll be, right? I mean, it's a good thought. The main thing the government wants you to follow, and a lot of nutritionists and things of that nature, you know, and I've talked about this many times, the more colorful your plate is, it's more pleasing to the eye, they say as well. Alright, so I want to talk about the mac and cheese. There are things that I would suggest everybody do differently. First of all, maybe don't use cavatappi. While it is a short pasta, it's also a denser pasta, and I felt like in the mixture there, you need a thinner pasta like a shell or a bow tie or maybe even an elbow. I cooked it enough. They were soft. It's just too thick of a noodle to be biting through, if that makes any sense at all. Here's our cup of sour cream, because that's pretty much all that was left in there. Now, I might reduce the heaviness of this by using the light sour cream. That's a good way to go. And then, of course, if you use the healthy cream of chicken soup, I do believe, it's 589 calories, 54 grams of carbs, 24 grams of protein, and 32 grams of fat, which is not great. But the healthier stuff you can add, the better. So, I had the mac and cheese. So the noodles should be smaller and thinner. What was the other thing? The baking, you might avoid that. Or I had the lady who I made the other one for cook it for a lot less time, because ours was very dry and kind of hard. For 30 minutes, it was a lot. And I had her do it for 15. She said it was delicious. I would say most of it is delicious. And I did like the croutons kind of on the top. It needs a lot more salt. She talked about no salt whatsoever in that recipe. And it was very, very, very bland. So it definitely would have needed salt. Not just, I think we just put in garlic powder, onion powder. I don't know what else. I put mustard in there. I'll have to think about it. But, and then the amount of milk that she provided was pretty off. And I would say that part where she mentions adding water or milk, I might add water next time. Because you just kind of need it for the pasta, I feel like. And the milk just gets too thick. So, do with that what you will. Flavor-wise, spot on. Delicious. I forgot to ask the little one what she thought of it. She might not have appreciated it as much. But I know you can always use different vegetables, but they do recommend that you at least use the winter squash. Winter squash. So like a butternut or an acorn or something of that nature. This is beautiful, by the way, you guys. And I'm going to put the cheese in. I'm going to put the mushrooms in. I don't know if I want to use all of them. So, I don't know. You know what? I just want to grab some off the top. But, so think about the veggies that we put in there. You could do any amount of things if you don't like corn in your food, which, I mean, honestly, you don't taste it. So, it's all blended together. And then I also said, maybe the thought process is to add baby's food instead of pulverizing frozen vegetables. And then your job is kind of, that pepper's trying to escape. Then your job's kind of done for you already, you know? I need a bigger spoon too. I hate making so many dishes because after doing this show, the last thing I want to do is watch a dish. Alright. I am wearing in my apron and getting lots of dirt on it because, you know, how can you trust a chef who doesn't get her apron dirty? Alright. My only thing is I worry about potatoes. I mean, I guess it's cooking long enough, and that's maybe why you tried to escape too. Why we're using the frozen hash browns, because they're kind of par cooked, so you won't run into that. Because I was gonna use regular potatoes, and then I'm like, sometimes I feel like that doesn't get fully cooked, you know. And who wants a hard potato in there? Okay, I'm trying to get this kind of pre-mixed so when I throw in the seasoning, it's not gonna just like stick all in one place, but it's alright. And I probably should put the cheese in. So I'm using that mac and cheese blend, and then I'm also gonna use a Colby Jack. And I'm just, you know me about cheese. I do. I mean, it did say to add the cheese, right? Because it seems a little, I don't know, maybe you could add more to the top if you want. Okay. Keep in mind too, when you've added more, like vegetables, I was gonna say fruits for some reason, in this recipe, I'm gonna say it changes the cooking time. Maybe not a lot, and maybe once those frozen vegetables start to kind of cook and get warm, they'll make a little bit of a liquid. Oh my gosh! Okay. I might add a little garlic powder to this too. I don't think I have a spoon like strong enough to stir this. Okay, there we go, I guess. Okay. Alright, let me get these seasonings in here. Most of the salt is at the bottom. Just seems like so much salt. I think I put half the salt in there, guys. Ham is salty, you know? You don't want to overdo the sodium. Because I forgot the sodium was pretty hot. Oh, that would have been sad. I would have cried. That bowl almost went over. No muscle strength left whatsoever. I'm gonna leave that extra salt in there, and I'm just gonna say if you want to salt, but I think we could use some pepper. Some pepper. Excuse the noise. Sorry. My husband loves pepper. And then I think it cuts a little bit, you know, cuts a little bit the saltiness when you add some other flavorings. I like the way I love the way that pepper. I really like that. You know what would be good? Instead of you could do eggs too, you know, and then just have a whole like brunch in a bowl. Cooking while you're at church, or you know, I'm trying to think of gatherings where you have like a big breakfast, but I guess unless it's like a work-related thing. Okay, so we want to put I'm going to get the liner over here for you. I sprayed the liner already. Okay. Okay. Maybe I don't know. I think I'm trying to overthink it. Whoa. This is a lot. Yeah. It's all sticking in the bowl. Just don't know why it doesn't seem like there's... This is very pretty. I'm kind of glad that we don't have as many potatoes in there as well. Alright. Now we put the stuffing mix over top. Did it used to come separate, the seasoning and the thing? I feel like it did. Anyway, look, the scissors over here. And ply that out. Okay. See, this is where a lot of the sodium is going to come from. That's why I was worried. And now I'm glad I didn't put... I don't know why I'm trying to rip that because it's in my way. I like this thought process, though. This might have been good for the mac and cheese. Like a corn... Oh. Ding, ding, ding. And then, this would have worked for the mac and cheese. Pretty much all of this. I wouldn't have added the, I don't know, it seems like a lot of stuffing. Wow. Oh my goodness. And it's flying everywhere. Holy crap. Sprinkle 6 ounces. That was a lot. Yeah, I would have almost, I'm hoping I saved most of the salt from going into the actual recipe, because it really, well, there's that stuffing I dropped. Leave it to me. See if I can get this stirred up a little bit, so not all of the things are fat is gonna end up in one place. I'm like trying to shake it out. Okay. All right. Now that we've made a complete mess of my sink, we're going to get this in the slow cooker. Ugh. All right. All right. What do I want to do? Put it on low since it's only like 10:30 in the morning, and then maybe around noon I'll turn it to high or something. We'll figure it out. All right, so where are you headed? That's the question. That's my question for you guys today. Where you headed? Now, some people just walk through life not really focusing on like a plan or a way to go about things, at least, or what you want to do. Some people just fall into their career. It's something they did right after high school, they were doing during high school, and then they hired them full-time after. Or you go to school for something, and like Jordan, it worked out so crazy to think that lighting in a museum would be a thing. Hello, I don't know why the two didn't correlate. And with Jordan's love of history, I mean, it now is a no-brainer, but when I saw this or heard about the job, I was just like, you see him, huh? Okay. So there's not always a plan. And I'm not saying like goals that you're setting for, each and every step of the way. What I'm saying to you is, do you visualize where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, tomorrow? Is it something you think about, or is it just something that you allow to be led? I don't know what I mean by that. In all actuality, excuse me. I think we're all led in a sense by not just ourselves, but I also feel like we're kind of directed by people we are close with, whose advice we might listen to. So I think that's a big thing. But it's like, do you sit down and say to yourself, where am I headed? Like, literally ask yourself that question out loud. Where am I headed? And a lot of times that kind of could correlate with the sentimental journal. And that's sparking some things in my head right now about what I would like to write about when I'm done here. That can be a prompt. A lot of people need journal prompts, or there's journals out there with prompts in them, and it makes it sparks something within me that I'm hoping that you can get from writing in the journal. And I'm hoping that I can remember what it feels like to spark something. A lot of times you're in a mundane schedule. You've lived in the same place for a long period of time. You've done the same job for a long period of time. The kids move up and move out and then they progress to that same kind of plateau. So in order not to, we think about plateaus in diets. You get to a certain point where you've lost a certain amount of weight and you're just stuck. That's the kind of same thing I think about when I'm in a life kind of figuring out kind of mood. And this is what jumped out at me. I don't know. Like, when I'm making these signs is the minute I get what I'm going to talk about. So it's not like I've been planning it all week. I literally make the signs the day of or the day before. And I say to myself, okay, what do I need to happen for me? Oh, yeah. Where am I headed? Like, what's the plan, babe? Not goals. I feel like plans and goals are different. I don't want people, at least for this topic of conversation, okay? And maybe I'm not using the right terminology or the right phrases. I have that problem. I don't use the right words in a lot of situations, and a lot of times that right word will never pop into my head, and I don't want to keep you up, so I try to figure out different words to use in the meantime. But it is something that if you walk around in a daze, just mindlessly doing your job, is that what you want from life? To just be kind of just going through the motions? Can you spark something in yourself, or can I spark something in you that triggers maybe an aha moment? I know that's kind of Oprah-esque, but it's also something that really makes you feel better about what you're doing. Like, if you go, oh my gosh. Like, if you finally get something, then I kind of feel like you went in the right direction for that moment in time. Now, are you constantly headed in the right direction? Nobody knows. Maybe that sparking of questions is what you need or I need to help reset the goals. Yes, I said goals, to reset the goals. And maybe that's the plan. Okay, does that make sense? I want people to realize their value. And sometimes we sit down and we figure out our bills for our home, and we figure out the cost of taking the kids to the doctor, or we figure out how much we can afford to pay for a car on a monthly basis. But do you sit down and figure out your own value? I know that's kind of a weird thought, but hopefully it sparks in you something that says, I'm worth something more than just this going through the motions kind of day, kind of life. So maybe sit down with your journal today, and I'm going to try my best. I got to find it first. I cleaned it, and then I'm in that mindset of I put it somewhere safe so I won't forget where it's at kind of moment. But I want you to sit down and say to yourself, where am I headed? And I don't mean literally. I don't want to know you're headed to the store or to work or out to lunch with a friend, which is a great idea, by the way. But I want you to think beyond that. And I know those are big steps. Those are big leaps. And normally I'm saying take baby steps. But every once in a while, in order to understand what you're worth to yourself and what is worth you going for and why those goals are so important, is that there's so many things that make you feel good about what you're doing along the way that will spark that next step, and hopefully that will just keep rolling. Life prompts are kind of scary because it means sitting down and actually going, okay, this is not working for me. That's another one you might want to ask yourself. Is what I'm doing working for me? And a lot of times it is bits and pieces are working. So that's another time to sit down and go, okay, I value myself enough to take out all the bullshit. Because it's not doing us any favors. It's not helping us progress to where we need to be. And frankly, it might be costing you more money. It's costing you time to do, even though you don't want to do it. So let's take out the bullshit and really sit down. And if that's what you have to do is go through your day and go, okay, where am I getting the most joy from my day? Is it, hanging with my kids before they go to school? Or is it taking my time out of the middle of my day to bring them a special lunch or something? I don't even know if you can do that anymore. But try and figure out what is dragging you down, because you can be rising yourself up in the beginning of the day or whatever time of minute you're talking about, and then the next minute you're going, oh, I gotta do this. Do you have to do that? Like, that's what I'm saying. Evaluate. I know we do a lot of evaluating on here, but really evaluate each portion of your day, and maybe it will help you figure out your next life question. Or maybe I can come up with your next life question. Either way. Anyway, I think that's about it. I'm not going to make you wait hours and hours and hours for this to be done. You can see how it turns out on Facebook, if you follow me on Facebook at Kristin Haas, KristinHass, or you can follow me on Instagram at The Best Blessed Life. And I don't know, a lot of these times I always say I'm going to take pictures, and then the pictures are just, it's just on a plate. It doesn't look, but hopefully, since this is so colorful, it has a lot going on, that it will it'll be a little more photogenic. think that's about it, guys. Can you believe it? I'm only at 35 minutes. I'm so proud of myself. Okay. So I guess I don't really have anything else to talk about, do I? I don't think so. Alright, guys, I guess that's a wrap. And with that being said, I want you guys to have a good day. Go do great things. Be your best self. And please live your best blessed life. Thanks for watching.